This May on Patreon, Hasbro hires the Pinkertons to harass a YouTuber, an OnlyFans girl is bad with money, Tinder helps old people hook up with younger people, and over 170 exclusives you've never seen at patreon.com/doseofbuckley. TikTok is like a high school girl that's 8 months pregnant. At this point, they're too big to ignore, it's way too late to really stop it, and everyone's got a lot of strong opinions about their morals, despite knowing very little about them personally. Every couple of months, we hear about renewed calls to ban the app in various ways. Trump actually tried to ban it back in 2020, but federal judges blocked the attempts, claiming he overstepped his authority in using his emergency powers. So, I guess people have to start smaller. Much smaller. As the state of Montana, population 1.1 million people, roughly 0.3% of the USA, voted to ban TikTok from their borders. The law wouldn't make it illegal for an individual to use TikTok because they know that's not enforceable, and also what are they gonna do? Literally lock dancing children up? Hey, you! Filming yourself lip-syncing to the new Ice Spice! Step away from the tripod and put your hands up! Some might argue that should be a crime, but it's not and would never pass any constitutional challenge. So instead, they want to go after TikTok itself, as well as the app stores, claiming they'll impose a $10,000 fine to Google, Apple, and ByteDance, TikTok's parent company, every single time a user from Montana accesses TikTok, is offered the ability to access TikTok, or is offered the ability to download TikTok. This law is as toothless as the gummers your grandma's given down at the old folks' home to try and score a few extra bingo cards. A, Montana has no way to enforce this. They're going to send $10,000 fines to Google, and Google is just going to laugh. They'll never pay them. B, Google and Apple apparently have no way to make this happen. Experts have suggested that they have no way to physically block downloads in a single state, only in an entire country. C, you don't need to download anything from the App Store. When the App Stores blocked Parler, for example, people were still able to get it. Listen, if your racist uncle who don't know nothing about them computers could get Parler on his phone, your kid who does understand tech is going to have no problem downloading TikTok without the App Store. And D, VPNs exist. Every single YouTuber in their alt account has promoted them at one time or another. You just set one up on your phone or computer, have it change your IP to a different state or even a different country, and you're all set. You can go back to watching whatever the latest dumbass challenge is, like the Benadryl one where some kid died after taking a handful of them at once. It really is a horrible platform. But anyway, it's an incredibly useless law. If it passes, it won't be enforceable, and even if by some chance it was, again, it affects so few people. 0.3% of the population of the US. But hey, Rome wasn't built in a day, right? First Montana, then Wyoming, then eventually, maybe a real state with actual people in it steps up. So, why do people want it banned in the first place? There's a couple reasons, but how about we start with the legitimate reason first? Security. As I'm sure you know, TikTok is owned by a Chinese company. And despite the fact that everything we use is made in China, China bad! There are huge concerns, though, that TikTok could be sharing user data, including location information, with the Chinese government. Or if they aren't currently, they could be, let's say, gently nudged into doing so. Nudged in front of a firing squad. Apparently, 150 million users in the United States have TikTok, nearly half of the population. So nearly half the population's data potentially accessible by the Chinese government. There is some legitimate concern there, even if that data is useless. Are you sure this isn't broken? We have real-time location data on half of all US citizens, but most of them haven't moved more than 6 feet in the last 10 hours. No, that's incredibly common. They're all very, very lazy. But anyway, the CEO of TikTok, Xu Zichu, spent a little time getting grilled in Congress over those concerns. He claims that all of TikTok's data is stored in the US by US companies. He points to the fact that they partnered with US database giant Oracle. Nothing shady about them, right? All right, what's this headline? Oracle to invest $1.5 billion into Saudi Arabia and open a data center in Riyadh. I'm sure no one will find that concerning. But if they do, don't worry. TikTok also has its own solution that they call Project Texas. staffed in America by 1,500 Americans. I love that that's the name a Chinese company came up with to try and gain the confidence of Americans. Like they thought, what is more American to those dumb rednecks than Texas? We'll call our security system Project Texas. Yeah, that'll shut those hillbillies up. But it didn't. The US government doesn't think that's enough. The Biden administration says that ByteDance needs to sell TikTok or face a potential ban. See? Democrats and Republicans can agree on something. Too bad it's something as stupid as shutting down a website full of makeup tutorials and people filming themselves working out. The US already banned the app from being used by federal employees on government-owned devices. Biden signed that into law in December of last year. In March of this year, Canada did the same thing. This is a ban that actually works, by the way, unlike the Montana one. It doesn't mean that federal employees can't use it on their own devices on their own time using their own data. Why, that might be unconstitutional. But they can't use it on their work phones or computers using the government's networks. Or if they do, they'll get fired and lose their cushy federal job where they get paid a lot of money for doing sweet dick all. So, wait, Buckley, you said that they have another reason for wanting it banned? Yes, I did. It's the old Helen Lovejoy reason. Won't somebody please think of the children? This is the dumbest reason, but this is also the more believable conspiracy. Stealing the data of how many times Logan Duffy of Boise, Idaho goes to 7-Eleven for a hot dog and a Big Gulp every week is useless. But turning every American kid into a drooling junkie? That might be useful. You see, TikTok doesn't even exist in China. Why? Because they know how bad it is. ByteDance operates a different version of it called Douyin. Douyin has a time limit for kids. You're only allowed to use the app for 40 minutes a day. And if you're under 14, you're limited to educational videos only. Home science experiments, videos of museum exhibits, shit like that. Former Google employee Tristan Harris was quoted by one outlet as saying, they make their domestic version a spinach version of TikTok, while they ship the opium version to the rest of the world. Is that the goal? The true conspiracy? To make Chinese kids more educated, more disciplined, while the global version of the platform is used to distract kids and make them even dumber, more unfocused, addicted to the serotonin dump that only one more video can provide, inevitably giving Chinese kids an advantage globally, leaving them far more prepared as leaders of major corporations than the mush-brained fools who spent the last 18 years of their lives endlessly scrolling and giggling at the flashing images on their screens. That would seem like a good plan, if Americans weren't already the world heavyweight champions at creating ways to fuck up their own kids. Fast food, video games, and having the TV babysit your kid existed long before TikTok, and have been just as effective at making kids unprepared for adulthood. As I mentioned in another video recently, 77% of America's youth is not even eligible to join the military. And if the reason for banning TikTok basically boils down to, I'm a lazy parent who doesn't want to have to do my job and raise my kid properly, so I want the government to block anything that's bad for them. Well, that just sounds like you want the policies of a certain country named... Oh, man, what is it again? Oh, we just talked about them. Oh, if only my unfocused brain raised on junk food and mindless entertainment would let me remember. Oh well, back to watching Kabi Lame videos. Oh man, this guy's so good. Give me another one.